I have unlimited data, so just go to James's iPhone. The password's baseball flow.
I'll call this meeting to Commissioners for Tuesday, September 25th. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Join me in short prayer. Heavenly Father, we ask for your wisdom in deciding what is in the best interest of those we serve. We ask in a special way to protect our troops and their families. We ask all this through your Son. Amen. Okay, let's do a roll call.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Here.
Commissioner Stacy? Here. Commissioner Thomas?
Okay, so I also need a motion to approve the digital audio video recording of the previous board session.
So moved.
And I will second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas? Commissioner Stacy? Yes. Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes. Under old business, we have added issue 1. Any other old business to add?
No.
Okay. And anything under new business you would like to talk about other than what we got?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, good, then we'll move on. So the first topic is, are there any time constraints for any folks out here? Do we need to get anybody in and out? Mr. Burns, would you like to get out as soon as you can?
Absolutely.
Okay. I just thought you enjoyed being with us, but all right.
No, that's okay. I enjoy coming over here, I
Let's
really do.
Let's talk about health insurance first, so you can.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Julie to come up first, and you wanna cover that?
Perfect, all right.
I'll go with you.
Okay. Okay, so, as a member of the Health Insurance Advisory Board and have been for roughly 10 years, one of the discussions that the group had early on this spring, roughly, was to establish guidelines for the use of the fund money, what kind of thresholds should be in place, and some historical things, so that if the board changed over the course of years, at least they knew where this group was coming at and some of the history behind it. So the goal, or the guidelines, really are to maintain the health insurance account, to offset substantial increases, stabilize rates, and manage rate increases. And in the past couple of years, it has been an avenue for us to do that through the Health Insurance Advisory Committee for the recommendations that we provide to the commissioners. So,
Okay.
anything else you want me to expand on?
No, it's pretty much to, just for the record, I'm Ron Burns, consultant for the First Insurance Group, represent the county on their health insurance program. The address is 1650 North County Line Street, Fostoria, with an office here in Tiffin. Part of this, again, the guidelines is every month, commissioners, you get the account for the health insurance, and you can see that was increasing. One of the concerns from the committee is we need to establish some guidelines, some minimums and maximums in there so it doesn't get out of hand. So part of this, and we use it, again, as Julie said, we use this fund for rate stabilization. We've used it probably 3 times in the last 10 years, where the ZEPCO has come in and given us a double-digit increase. We used the funds that we had in there to offset that, to give the employees single-digit increases. So that was part of that fund, and that's what we use it for. So again, probably more so for rate stabilization, as well as to establish a minimum maximum in there. There is no maximum, there's a minimum of 250, but as you've seen in there. So, and again, I think our fund is growing, and we're going to have some recommendations here for the commissioners to consider for the for year 2019.
Perfect. Okay.
So, thank you. Just a couple things moving forward in that fund that I think we need to talk about, at least let the commissioners know. In the past, when this fund was built, when the fund was established, the county was partially self-funded. So when we terminated our relationship with a third-party administrator back about 10 years ago, the county was required to have reserves in that account to handle run-out of claims. We did that. There was a balance left over. We also were receiving rebates back from our prescription drugs. And that took about a year for that to clean itself out, or at least, there's always about at least 1/4 drag out of a year, so it took us about a year to get those funds back. The other piece, the other item that came in there was our wellness. Currently, right now, the county has the wellness program through SEPCO, and if the employees complete their requirements for the year, two things happen. One, the employees got a 25% discount off their health insurance if they completed that. The other piece is the county received about $200, was it a couple? Or, per employee and spouse into the fund, which accounted for about $30,000 last year. We'll get the $30,000 this year. Prior to that, it was just employees only, so we totaled it up to somewhere between $80,000 and $100,000 that the county's received in the last probably 4 or 5 years. And we used it to help offset that 25% that the county was getting. So what's going to happen next year is we're not going to have that $25,000. SEPCO informed us about 2 months ago that they were no longer being going to pay the county, any of their counties, into their members' cash. So we're not going to have that $30,000 next year. So again, while this fund that we have set up, we're going to use part of that to manage our rates going forward. So I do want to point that out. In your packet, we're going to move kind of through this here. We had the recommended guidelines in there. You see the fund account balance. Any questions there? Tasha Franker gives that every month, kicks that out to everybody. And we're going to talk about the renewal because that's the reason I'm here today. So the first page that you got there, what you're going to see is a bunch of numbers on that page. We're going to take the far top right-hand column. You're going to see those are the ZEPCO rates that Stacy received about 3 weeks ago from ZEPCO. Through that, as you come down, you'll see that second line blue box. It says other fixed expenses. In there are our fees, as well as the county's life insurance and the auditor's expense. We total those two together, and then in the middle of that, you'll see the reserve adjustments. There's nothing in there. We did not make any adjustments this year because the rate increase that we actually got from ZEPCO was slightly below 0% increase. So our proposed buy-up rate, you'll see at the in the middle of the page there, far right column, about three-quarters of the way down, you'll see the 650 and then the 539. That block there is the rates that we work from to determine what the employee's contribution and the county's contribution is on a monthly basis. The bottom right-hand box in yellow, well, we received like a 0.07 decrease in our rates this year. The committee is recommending to the commissioners we just leave our rates flat from accounting purposes and payroll. What that means is you'll see there is a difference there between that yellow box to the left and the one to the right. That's the three, like for example, the 102 for a single, and this year it's 101. So the committee just recommended again to leave that at 0%. So one of the items that we're going to recommend to the commissioners this year is because of a 0% increase, as well as we're running a little heavy on our cash balance in our fund, we're going to recommend to the commissioners that in the month of November, there's a premium holiday for all employees and the county. So, for example, a family on the HSA plan in the month of November, there's 3 pays, so they're going to see about a $450 plus in their check for that month. There is there'll be no money coming out, and then those people in the PPO will see about a $900 increase in their pay just for that month for their benefits. So we're recommending or suggesting to the commissioners is a premium holiday for that month. The county, they won't have to put in $160,000. So that's the advantage to everybody across the board. Both the employees and the county receives the premium holiday. So, okay. So that's part of it. Any questions on that page? It's just kind of a rate compilation page.
It's a lot easier when there's no increase in there.
You betcha. You betcha. I wish them all, they're all like this. The next page you're gonna see is just these, what we did, we put this together, I believe, last year. It's just what your rate increases have been over the last 9 years. You can see the first year ZEPCO took about 11.5% increase. We did tap the pool a little bit. So the county actually enacted about a 2.8% increase. 2012, we didn't make any change there. We got a 1%. 2013, there was an 8%. We didn't touch the pool. We passed that 8% on. 2014 and so forth. And then 2016, we had a 12.7, but we only gave the employees 5. We tapped into that health insurance account to help offset the rates. And that's what the committee's been doing. They actually, they do a pretty good job with it. This year, again, 2019, whereas a slight decrease, we're asking for no increase at all. The next page that you're going to see, there's a couple highlighted items. I do want to point a couple things out. I'm about finished here. You'll see the highlighted box, the top left-hand side, paid claims. And you come across, you see medical and prescription. The county actually had about $2.7 million in expenses last year. And if you go all the way to the bottom, the second yellow line up, you'll see 2018 rates. The county paid in 2.5. And you say, geez, Ron, I paid in 2.5 million in premium and they paid out 2.7. That's a loss. Actually, Seneca County, as the group before there was any pooling effect taking place, where actually our loss ratio was 112%, which meant for every dollar that the county paid in, ZEPCO was paying out about 12. Now, the key to this is you'll see that second yellow line there. It says claims in excess of pooling. Your pooling limit's $100,000 in the top here, right, Mike? Right here. That pooling limit is $100,000. We had a significant amount of claims that went over $100,000, and those totaled out about $414,000. Those came off that 2.7 million. So when that happened, it dropped our loss ratio as a group in the pool below 100%. That was a good thing. The second thing that happened was the pool itself, ZEPCO's pool, with all the other 32 counties that are in there. 33.
I think he said yes.
Yeah, 33. They actually had a pretty decent year as well. So we kind of got the impact of the pooling experience and the ZEPCO as a whole, their pooling. So it ended up to the advantage of the commissioner. So that third yellow line there says the adjustment before rebates. Actually, it dropped our rate increase. It was going to be 4.6. We ended up getting rebates back on our prescriptions at 5.3. That's where we ended up with 0.07. So the good news is the consortium's working for you. It's got some advantages to it. Had the county been on their own, you'd have seen about a 19% increase. So that's in there. And then we've got some claim data. And then the other piece is, this is the end of the third year with ZEPCO. We did take it to the market. We covered 4 large carriers. That's in your packet as well. We did go to the large consortium, which is Jefferson Health Plan. Jefferson is the largest Ohio or municipal consortium out there in the state. City of Tiffin's with them. Got a lot of school districts with them. We went to them and they come back and said, look, if we gave you a rate for Seneca County, it's going to be probably around 3.2, 3.4 million. The county's on track with this 0% increase to spend about 2.5. So significantly lower, and all the documentation's attached to it where the other carriers declined it. So we did take it to the market. The group said we got to do our due diligence. We took it out there, shopped it, and it come back as you've got a pretty good deal. Okay. So Holly did put a summary together. Holly, do you want to, or not Holly? Stacy.
I think the other Stacy.
The other Stacy. Sorry, my bad.
No, that's okay. So the Health Insurance Advisory Committee met, discussed all of this, and again, we're recommending that there be no premium increase for 2019. A premium holiday for the month of November. which, repeating what Ron said, it would be, it's a 3 pay period month for employees, so that's a little bit extra that they will get to keep. The county will keep their premiums as well, non-general fund, general funds will keep theirs as well for November. We are recommending in 2020 the removal of the PPO buyout plan option. Also recommending the wellness discounts stay the same. The initial 25%, the wellness committee is going to review the final tally of the extra points. We gave extra points this year. Once you hit, I want to say 800 and 1,000, you got additional discounts. Because we don't have the results of those yet, they'll come back with a recommendation to the board for a potential new program next year. But the initial 25% that we've been doing over the years is still recommended. We also discussed the HSA contribution potential increase from $500 to $750 for singles and $1,000 to $1,500 for family. And I just want to reiterate the previous new hires are only eligible for the base plan, the high deductible plan, no PPOs. Current employees that are on the PPO could stay on the PPO until, our recommendation is until the 2020 we dissolve that. And then a reminder that as of January 1st, 2017, we did the spousal waivers, and those will still be in effect. So those are some of the recommendations. I know some of the members are here if I've missed anything. So I just kind of wanted your thoughts.
The only, I mean, I serve on the committee as the commissioner representative, and I appreciate those who serve on the committee. If you'd stand, there's a few in the back. Tasha, Julie, thanks. And there, so we've got representation on the committee from all workforces, not every department, but all types of workforces that we have in the county. I think that's important to note, and it's worked well over the years. On the HSA contribution, I 100% agree with everything else on this summary, and the stuff we're continuing and the directions we're going with stuff. That is the only thing I question, because I keep pondering in my head on, I understand the reason we went to an HSA contribution when we were, I did that myself with a different employer before I was ever here, and they offered me, you know, a little bit into that savings to get you started, because yes, lower premium, higher deductible. Is whether we make that jump, do we ever get to the point, because it's the only option, that we don't have that incentive? And then I guess my greatest concern is that yes, we have a budget stabilization fund established and things like this, but do we get to the point of having to trim things back for employees, and if we're making that level of contribution, and then that's what we have to take away, which would be better than cutting salaries and or charging more for benefits to the employee share, is that's going to be hard for employees to digest when we've been doing it for so long. So I'm wondering what level is too much. Is there such a thing? So I guess that part I'd like to have a little more time to think about, that HSA contribution, whether we jump that up or not. Just my opinion on the whole scheme of things. Not to take it away, not to lower it, but whether we do jump that up or we don't. And I mean, obviously, I don't know what that total cost is. There's a cost to the county on that, as we have in the past. So just my thought.
And I did reach out to the non-general fund departments, because we have to do this either across the board or not at all. Mm-hmm. And there was only one non-general that I didn't get a chance to talk to. All the rest were supportive of the increase, if that's what we decided to.
But it affects the non-general to the tune of about 50% of whatever that increase is.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I share your concerns, Commissioner Stacy, but I think that in the event that somewhere in the future we would have to reduce those contributions, it's still better to increase them at this point and to allow folks to have money in the HSA now than it would be to not do it and keep it the same into the future, as opposed to doing it now and at some point having to say that we don't have the money to do it. So at this point in time, we're trying to move everyone towards the HSA account as quickly as we can. And I think that since we're able to, that the increases in the HSA contribution ought to increase this year and probably next year, because in 2020, we're going to require everybody to be on that account. So I appreciate your concern and your thoughtfulness on this. Let's talk about it next week. Why don't we approve everything that the committee recommended, accept that, and then have that discussion next week? Is that
Yeah.
okay?
What's the percentage of our, and I should know that off the top of my head, but that are on the HSA? I know all new employees have to, they don't have that option anymore.
I can tell you that
Gotcha.
about 34 people are on the PPO plan.
34.
So out of 258,
Okay.
34 are on the PPO, so the difference is,
Yeah, it's
what,
minimal.
212
They will
or
be going there.
220 or something?
Yeah,
That'd
it's
be
something to
great,
think
yeah.
about, maybe, I don't know, and I guess, Ron, if it's legally, I know there's restrictions with what can happen with HSAs and so forth. Is it possible, just an idea, that with an increase, can we do something via a match? I mean, I guess it's none of our business whether an employee is or isn't maximizing it or how much they could choose to
Right.
contribute on their own to their HSA. Obviously, the county portion goes to the HSA. But is there something to do, anything above and beyond a certain level as a match?
I haven't seen it. What Stacy and I were talking about yesterday is everybody has, the singles and families have to be treated the same.
Well, they do it with the 401Ks.
On the
and stuff. I mean,
401K you
some-
can do.
Some employers say if
Yes.
you put in 3%, we'll
Correct.
match it.
Correct.
You know, maybe there
I'll
is
check
some-
on that. I haven't seen it yet. We haven't done it.
What is the total dollar effect in 2019 if we took these
The
increases?
anticipated, I printed that out. Let's see, using the numbers we have now with 129 singles and 107 family, the total difference of what we contributed this year to what we would contribute next year going to the 750 and the 1500 is 85,750. That's the difference.
The additional,
The additional is.
how many families are there?
Family right now is 107, and those could, then depending on open enrollment, those could change a little bit.
That's the effect on the general fund or the effect total?
Total,
So the effect on the general fund is 42.5.
yeah, it's roughly half.
Okay.
I concur with approving everything and then coming back and finishing discussion on that one.
I'll consider that a motion, I'll second it. Roll call, please.
I'll have to read all these anyway, so if you want to just,
Oh, you have to read those
yeah,
for new
yeah.
business?
Yeah, just because they're
Okay.
specific with, so.
All right, we'll just wait to do that then.
Okay.
Mr. Burns, thank you very much.
The last thing,
Yes.
that really doesn't impact the county at all, you'll see there's a tab for voluntary products, because the employees do have voluntary dental and voluntary life, that's in there. There was no change to the rates there. So we just put the tab in there because it's all part of it, so you should be good to go. So thank you for your time. I appreciate
Okay,
it.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk about issue one. Issue one, for those of you who do not know, is a proposed constitutional amendment that we'll be voting on November 6th involving low-level drug offenders and other low-level felons. The proposal is basically make certain that these folks are not penalized, but they are attempted to be rehabbed, and they don't have any fear of jail time. I'll let you talk about the CCAO,
Sure.
and then I'll talk locally.
Okay. I'm a member of the CCAO, which is the County Commissioners Association of Ohio, and that board, we had a board meeting on Friday, did vote officially to oppose issue one as an association. Issue one, and I'm just reading this right from the formal statement they sent last night or this morning to us, so we all had it. Issue one would change the state's constitution to reduce drug penalties. The proposal is also opposed by our county law enforcement community, including the judges, prosecutors, sheriffs, and the clerks of court. The CCAO Justice and Public Safety Committee also recommended to the board that it oppose issue one. I don't think I'll go in reading the rest of it, but just formally as a board, we did do that. That does require 60% vote for our board of directors to take a position on a ballot issue. And while it was, I guess on that closing here, it says, other concerns raised were how, where is it? Somewhere. Well, it was not unanimous. Basically, what they're stating is the few counties who voted in support, they voted no on opposing it. Their biggest concern was how that was going to be handled by the counties financially in the future and those kinds of things. So it wasn't as much of the issue itself, but just over the other aspects of it.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
the whole letter.
A memo from Derek Devine, our county prosecutor. The Sunday County Prosecutor's Office supports a no vote on issue 1. Issue 1 does not solve any of our criminal justice problems, but instead pushes criminals out of the state system and back into local treatment. Issue 1 removes felony possession of cocaine, fentanyl, heroin, and other drugs from our laws. Issue 1 mandates a reduction in most prison sentences by 25%, taking away the authority of our courts. We also know that, as Commissioner Stacy stated, that the Buckeye State Sheriff's Association, all the county prosecutors, and certainly the opiate task force that we have locally opposes voting on this issue. Just for a matter of information, this has been funded by the millions of dollars to promote issue 1 from research. Only $19,000 of that money has come from Ohio. The rest of it has come from the outside attempting to support this. Groups like George Soros and Mark Zuckerberg and their related companies are supporting this heavily. The other thing that's stated in this advertisement for approving it is that it will save $100 million. That's a stab in the dark. It further says that $100 million will come back to the counties. That never happens. So we are strongly opposed to issue 1. Hopefully the voters get themselves informed and vote their conscience, but we believe that the pivot court that we've established here with the judges is certainly a much better solution than changing the Constitution of the state of Ohio. So, motion, do we have a resolution?
I was waiting on to see if that's what you guys wanted to do.
Yeah, I don't know if we, and there's nothing that prevents us from doing so, or coming out in opposition of issue 1. So I will move that we follow the direction as outlined by the County Commissioners Association of Ohio, in which we are members, and oppose issue 1.
I will happily second that motion. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas? Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes. Okay, the next on the agenda is fiber equipment request.
Yes, the fiber is being installed, and I don't want to jinx this, but we are a little ahead of schedule. And the next step was to get a quote for the board to discuss the equipment on each end. And Jake is here if you have any detailed questions about it. I think I sent you the quote last week. The total is $217,432.75. During our initial discussions with the IT committee and with Jake, we had discussed it could be a potential between $150,000 and $300,000. We didn't know, depending on what equipment we just decided to go with. We got a couple different quotes. One was for like a lower end equipment and then a higher end equipment. So this was Jake's recommendation, and also Bascom's recommendation. What I'm proposing is using our capital projects money for this. We do have money available to appropriate there. Currently, the 911 fund is taking an advance from the general fund for the fiber portion of it, and we'll be paying that back. But I just don't think that the 911 fund has the ability to pay for all that. Plus, it is also helping all county offices.
Right.
So
it does, it's of assistance to all the offices across the county, as opposed to just 911 services.
right.
Yeah, like I said, it fell in line once, you helped me recall that accurately. What we, had predicted, we had a range, we didn't know what was gonna end up on this equipment, and I'm excited that we are as far along as we are, and. Yeah.
Jake, you want to add anything?
No, I just, with this equipment and the quote and the recommendations, just to let everybody know, this is going to give us additional future proofing for the fiber network and additional redundancy over what we had originally asked for and anticipated. So I know with the emergency services running along the same network, instead of having the ring redundancy, that's going to kind of have almost like an auto healing capability. So we're future proofing ourselves with this equipment now. The ability to add additional locations, but the ability to have that extra layer of redundancy for interconnecting offices, like if there's a fiber cut between locations.
Thank you. Any additional comments? Commissioner?
No.
I'll put that in with the resolutions I read at the end, if that's okay.
Jimmy Flint, you got anything to talk to us about?
Yeah, absolutely. So, hi, I'm Jimmy Flint, handling public relations for the county right now. I just wanted to let everyone know that we're launching a new county website today. We've spent about the last month rebuilding this site. So today's the public launch. I'm going to give you the URL and ask y'all to check it out and give us some feedback. It's at www.senecacountyohio.gov. The site's going to feature a new and improved layout and design. It's going to incorporate our branding logo and colors. There's going to be biography pages for the commissioners. That's also going to include their committee assignments and a couple questions that you can use to get to know them better. We put content, county news, press releases on there. That way everyone in the public can be on the same level as the media sources as well. And yeah, so I just want to thank the commissioners for being involved, sitting down with me, getting those bio pages worked out. Jake Schaff is our builder, so he's kind of doing the back end. We've been working together a lot this last month. And then also County Administrator Stacey Wilson, thank you so much. Please check it out. Let us know feedback. Let us know what you think about it. So thank you.
If you go to the old site, it'll take you to the new site.
Jake?
It will later. We were waiting until this official launch, so this afternoon, if somebody hits the old address, it's going to get them redirected to the new website.
But this has the full recording of all commissioners' meetings?
Yeah, so that's another thing I forgot to mention. If you click meetings up here, that third one on the top, you can go to the 2018 meetings. Every agenda, every index, and then a link to our minutes, which are audio video recordings. Everything's there. So anything from any meeting this year, and it goes back to 2016. And so anything you want to go back and see, we just want to be accessible. We want to be transparent. So make sure and check that out. And if you have questions, anything feedback-wise, how you think we can make it better, we want to hear that. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jimmy. Okay, CCAO board update.
The only other thing to add, I was going to throw the issue one step in there, but is just that the board has worked very diligently since the beginning of the year to be ready with the change of administrations for the state of Ohio that will occur with the governor's race at hand, in education, and what our priorities are. And I left that lay on my desk, so I'm not gonna do them from memory, but specifically what our priorities are as a county association representing all counties and the commissioner boards. So we could educate and engage, network, and get to know these candidates well. Obviously, everybody's of interest in hearing from everybody when they're on the ballot and so forth. So we wanted to take that opportunity, had both candidates into a meeting this summer to that board of directors, gave them full depth notebooks about county government, about the concerns. One of those main issues is what has happened with revenue, all the ways that we've lost revenue and how to get that back and restored, such as the MCO tax, and other types of issues. But it's been a good opportunity, good experience with seeing that come together and knowing that hopefully coming in, regardless of who wins the race in November, that they've already got good exposure and contacts with the association. And so they've prepared some things for us as a board to be able to use, including a brochure that highlights things about the County Commissioners Association in terms of those policies and things, op-ed pieces, articles, a speech outline, and other things that is going to be very beneficial to us to use, because the key aspect of this is by June 30th, when the budget has to happen, we want them to be well aware in those first 6 months of things going on and the importance to counties. So that's that update.
I think the one thing that I was happy to hear yesterday, we had Northwest County Commissioners Association meeting here yesterday. that Commissioner Stacy hosted, was that they did sit down, we're going back to issue 1 very quickly, with the opponents and the proponents of issue 1 for an hour or so apiece. So they are looking at both sides. We don't know what the result of their decision was, but the good news is they're looking at candidates from both sides of the aisle, and they're looking at issues from both sides of opinions. Okay, anything else?
Nope.
Agenda. Okay, let's get on with the appropriation adjustments.
Okay, I have an appropriation adjustment within the M&R fund, moving 2,000 from their gas line to their supply line. I have an appropriation adjustment within the general fund. Sheriff is requesting moving $200 from inmate medical to training. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriation to the juvenile court special projects fund, asking $5,000 for their contract service. It's for their records preservation. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriation to the project fund. This again is from juvenile probate court. And this is for $10,000, and it's for their microfilm. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the general fund. This is putting $66,237 into the airport's contract service line. This is for that obstruction removal. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the Victims of Crime Act expansion fund, putting $15,000 into their transfer out. She's working on her switching over years. They have kind of an odd cycle. It ends the end of September, starts the new cycle in October. So I have a resolution authorizing the fund transfer be made to her other account, her 2110, again for the amount of $15,000. I have a resolution authorizing an appropriation adjustment within the capital projects fund, moving $23,870 from the Ag Center to the JFS. The reason we need some funding in the JFS line is that, I think we've spoke about it the last 2 years, that the boiler, let's see what's that? Yeah, the boiler at JFS has been failing. Last winter, we actually had to have maintenance on call, going out, checking that building in the middle of the night because they just can't keep it running. So John thought we needed to get this done before the weather sets in, because the problems just aren't going away. So that's why we needed money in the JFS line. They would like heat out there.
Yeah.
That'd be a good idea.
I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the capital projects fund. This is for the CSB. We discussed this in the summer, $34,900. It's for the rebuild of their unit. What we did at the beginning of the summer was just basically add some Freon, hope it would last. It did. So, but the rebuild, they're ready to start that once the weather changes a little bit cooler. So. I have a resolution authorizing a fund advance from the general fund to the DRETAC fund. It's actually for the land bank. They had a land bank meeting last week and has requested the $300,000 from the general fund as an advance. Will be paid back as soon as the money is received in from the NIP. They just haven't got the reimbursements yet on their projects. So I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the DRETAC fund. He is appropriating the full $320,443.51. The $300,000 is our advance. The other is the other fees that we've received. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriation to the general fund. It's our transfers, public assistance transfers fund. It's our obligation. We budget each year. We were $695.50 off. So we need to appropriate that, and then we will be moving the full amount of $66,925.50 to the public assistance fund. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the general fund. This is for the coroner. We have bills up till June for autopsies, and we are down to a little over $200 in that line. So we are estimating $25,000 at least to get us through the rest of the year. Hopefully, the rest of the year goes smooth and we won't need it, but we went through that quite quickly this year. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriation to the VOCA grant fund. This is getting ready for her switchover. She's putting a total of $71,500 into her various lines. I have an appropriation adjustment within the general fund. This is at the request of the sheriff. He's moving $413.83 from equipment to uniforms. I have a resolution authorizing the participation agreement with the County Employee Benefits Consortium Ohio. I have a resolution reestablishing the County Capital Projects Fund. We're going to make this effective January 1 of 2018. It was suggested at our exit audit that a couple items be added. We needed to create a limit on a dollar amount and a time limit. The time limit is not to exceed 10 years, so we included that language in the resolution. And also added, we went back through the last 5 years on our capital improvement line, and it's only ever exceeded $1 million for 1 year, so we just estimated 10 million. If something happens and we need additional, we can always redo the resolution, but the suggestion of the state auditors was to include those two caveats in our resolution. So. I have a resolution hiring Jason Ritchie as an interim paramedic for the Seneca County EMS Paramedic Response Unit, or ECHO unit, effective September 25th, 2018. And they're here if you'd like to introduce.
Sure. Yep. Follow me. I want to introduce Jason Ritchie. Jason's been a paramedic, and I've known him for a long time. He's been a paramedic about 18 years. Worked for the city of Tiffin, Tiffin Fire and Rescue. And Jason will be a good asset for our team because he's a local guy, and he's wanting to pick up some hours. So we do have quite a few part-time guys, but not all of them are active all the time, and that's why we have them as intermittent, because they're not regularly scheduled. We just use them as fill-ins for vacations, time off, things for the full-timers, things like that. And also, this time of year, it's a busy time of year, so we always need help so we don't wear people out. And Jason will be a good addition to the team. And he's been around EMS a long time, so we're lucky to have him.
Welcome, Jason.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys have any questions for us? We're out of here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I have a resolution authorizing Seneca County Job and Family Services to accept Medicaid income maintenance funds from Sandusky County, and authorizing Kathy Oliver, Director of Job and Family Services, to sign this and other related documentation. Usually we have counties requesting some of our funds that we haven't spent. Sandusky County is willing to help us out this year for that. So. I have a resolution authorizing the disposal of unneeded, obsolete, or unfit county-owned property. This is from the Board of DD, 2005 72-passenger Bluebird bus.
Okay.
I have a resolution authorizing the Seneca County Board of Commissioners to enter into a food service agreement with Bridges Community Academy on behalf of the Seneca County Sheriff's Office, retroactive to August 28th. 2018. And I have a resolution appointing Mike DeWine, Ohio Attorney General, and any of his Assistant Attorney Generals as Special Prosecutor regarding a criminal prosecution and or criminal representation of a criminal matter of law. This is at the request of the Prosecutor's Office. I do not have any details on the case. He's just asking for, and it's at no cost to the county. So I have my resolutions for the insurance, resolution establishing the Seneca County's premium contributions and health insurance rates for calendar year 2019, as discussed earlier. No changes will be made. I have a resolution establishing Seneca County wellness discount rates for calendar year 2019. Again, those will stay the same. I have the resolution supplement to the permanent appropriations to the capital projects fund. This is for the $217,432.75. And I do have one additional one, due to Bob Anderson. He has resigned and moved to Delaware County to be their Job and Family Services Director. We have an opening in our Health Insurance Advisory Board. The commissioners had an at-large member position. Ginger Mack, she has always helped Bob with our wellness, has offered to be that member. So I have a resolution appointing her if the board so chooses.
So be it.
Yes. And that's all I have.
Okay.
Move to approve the resolutions as presented.
Second, roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas? Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Christian?
Yes. Okay, it is time for public comment. Do we have any comments from the audience today? Yes.
I think I've had Mike Kelbley, Tiffin, Ohio.
Yes.
The freebie November, I assume is, I think it's been confirmed, this November, not next November. I've got
Yes.
5 people that I'll need to answer that question
Yes.
for. when I-
That is true.
Yep.
Secondly, the changing of the lights seems to be well received. I will certainly, now that they've moved the pad down where I don't have to climb up to change, I'll be more than happy to help with the changing of the lights. I promise not to have Nurigal colors every night, but there's no
It didn't
guarantee.
work quite as scheduled this weekend. It was supposed to be.
Yeah, there were some issues.
Supposed to
I
be
don't know,
purple
but
and it turned orange, so.
I guess all I'm saying is I'm willing to help.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I just need a key.
Stupid. I think you have a key. I think Julie wanted to bring up.
Julie, you have something? Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
should.
I talked briefly to Stacy, and Holly sits on the GIS committee. It's a subcommittee from the IT committee. And one of the things that was brought up, or I did a reach out to a vendor who specializes in GIS services and asked them to present a best practices, if you will, some solid direction for the GIS committee, a review of current procedures to see how we can improve. I mean, I've been with the county almost 30 years, and it's always good to have another set of eyes to look at things, to see if we are doing our best in due diligence on structuring the GIS position, because this is gonna be a tool that's gonna be used, 30 longer down the road, because it's an ever-evolving technological tool. Or as the GIS technician in my office calls it, it's a business solver. So if you have any issues, it's a good tool to be used to help solve issues or present different projections. So I was asking if the board would consider funding the consulting or the survey. I hate that term, and sometimes studies kind of make me weary, because it sometimes can be a concern with the expense, but in this case I feel it's warranted because it is uncharted territory and it is a huge investment for the county, and I think we would be doing our due diligence to have established best practices on this. And I believe it was less than $5,300 for them to perform an analysis and review with various departments, the engineers department, tax map department, recorder's office, and the auditor's office.
I prefer you being on the committee.
Yeah, a couple of questions. I think I saw from an email that you said, certainly the county engineer would cooperate with the consultant to gather the information. The biggest question I have, and it's limited, but 6 years of experience, is are we going to get any results that's going to get us any changes? They could recommend lots of things, but We have two departments that rely on and maintain GIS systems. That's you and that's the engineer. And I'm just not sure that getting it all spelled out and defined in the end that we're going to get any information that's going to warrant any changes. Like you said, you always get a little leery when you hear the word study, and are we going to be able to use the information? We can analyze things all day and it can tell us to spend X amount of money. We say, well, we don't have the money, so that was nice, but we can't. I don't know if it's going to be that. I don't know if it's going to demand program type changes. And if we don't project that under the current leadership that we're going to have any changes occur between the two departments, such as if tax map's going to remain with Mark, you're going to still have your stuff. I just don't know that we're going to yield any information that's going to get us to a new platform.
And I can't speak for the engineer. I can just speak for my office as to the direction and the need for the GIS. And you know that because I made that investment in the technician a couple years ago, so that we had that basis.
So I don't know if we could readily want to approve this or we want to think about it more. I mean, I appreciate you doing your homework and bringing it forward, but my concern is exactly how you stated it about studies. And even though it's only 5,300, it's 5,300. I'm just not sure we're not.
Did you get any input from Shane on this?
Trying to remember if you sent any responses back.
I know
yeah.
he's been corresponding, so.
Yeah, because I was hoping we could do this next week when he got back, but Julie was unavailable, so
Okay.
she asked if she could come in and do it.
Sure,
today,
well, we
so-
have, we have the information that we need, so let's look at it, because I really haven't looked at it very closely either. So we'll take a vote on it next week.
Yep, and the sample information is what they provided for recent review for Putnam County.
I sent that to
So,
him.
okay.
You say how long it would take them to do the assessment?
I was under the impression if they got started here real soon, by the end of the year.
They did it for the Putnam County Auditor.
I believe it was a joint effort with the auditor and engineer.
Okay.
I'm not sure who initiated it on that end.
All right, so we can contact them and ask them about the study. Yeah, that's good.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
Any other comments from the fine crew out here? Okay, hearing none, we are adjourned. 10:53.